Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books. What a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together. What a yummy snack. PBJamz. Yummy books and music. PBJamz. Reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz. What a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz. Songish books and bookish songs. Tips for music teachers. Interviews and book reviews. A little singing and dance.
Afternoon or evening, whenever it is that you are joining us for this episode. I am so thankful that you are here to join my friend Sabrina, Shah, and myself for a brand new episode. I said last week that I'm just getting back in the swing of things after being out of the country for a while. So it's been a whirlwind, but what a great way to come back to the episode last time. And then this episode with Music of the Mountains, a story in Pakistan by my friend Sabrina Shah. So welcome, Sabrina.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you here. Sabrina and I go back a ways, but this is the first time we've met kind of sort of in person. So we've shared
Yes.
some critiques back and forth as part of the
Yeah.
critique train with Mindy, Elise Weiss, and so that's been super fun. So I feel like she's an old
Yeah.
friend, and it's nice to have you here and
It
be back.
feels like that. It really does. It feels like we just kind of reconnected and it's just like we've
Exactly.
known each other for years, which
For
we kind of
years,
have,
yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
just
lovely.
vitally friends. Yes.
Mm.
Well, your book is beautiful, and this is your debut book. This is
Mhm.
your very first.
Yes, this is my
Yeah,
debut book. Yes, very happy and kind of overwhelmed by it all. But yes, it's lovely and
I'm
happy to
sure.
have it out in the world now.
Yeah, and it came out in May. So
Yes, May
you've had a little
2025.
bit of time to process and adjust. And yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
so it came out in May, and it was you always think, okay, you're waiting for it to release, right? You just kind of in it, and then it all just kind of happens, and you're just like, then it's out there, and you're like, now what?
yeah,
But it's an organic journey, and it keeps going from one thing to the next. So, and this is part of it. So, thank you
yeah.
for letting me be able to talk about it with you.
Oh, of course. I'm excited to talk about. It's such a lovely book. I should mention the art is by is it Manal? Can you pronounce?
Minal Mirza,
Okay,
yes.
thank
She's an
you.
American Pakistani illustrator, and she's done an absolutely amazing job on it. I think
Yeah.
some of the reviews and just general feedback is that this book is stunning for that reason. She's done an absolutely wonderful job on it, and I couldn't be more prouder. It's given a unique touch to a story that's very close to my heart, but I think her illustrations have really made it what it is. So yeah, I will be forever grateful to
Yeah.
Minal.
They really are beautiful. And this book is put out by, is it Barefoot Books?
Barefoot Books, yes, published by Barefoot Books,
Yeah.
and the
And
lovely editor Lisa.
they do beautiful books.
Do.
In my music classroom, I use a lot of their books because a lot of them, have songs that go along with them.
Yes, they have the sing along.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. So
exactly.
I
Mine's
use
very musical in that sense, but not quite the sing along, but definitely an interactive element to it.
yes, which is why Sabrina is here with us talking about PB Jams because she has all this, and you can tell from the title, Music of the Mountains. So it's right there in the title. And we'll get
Yeah.
to the musical connections in a bit. But first off, tell us a little bit about why this story is special to you and how you were inspired to write it.
Okay, I guess it is a story from the heart in that sense because it's basically inspired by me and my culture and my parents. So it's a story about a little girl who's learning how to play the rabab, which a lot of people globally won't know what that is. It's a form of guitar, but a very specific type. That is very traditional to the north of Pakistan. There's variations across Asia, but this particular one, which is more to do from the Pathan side of things, which is like my cultural side. And it's a tribe of people in North Pakistan who play the rabab. And the inspiration came from my mother, actually, who used to play music, well, play the cassette tapes back in the day,
Right.
of the Rabab. And we used to just listen to it. And I just loved the music. And it's something which was obviously part of her heritage, our heritage, a part of our legacy. Obviously, I was born and bred in the UK. So music of the mountains is an ode to my family, my cultural upbringing, my heritage. So that's where it all spanned from. And just listening to the rabab being played as I was growing up, I was always fascinated by it. And it has a very distinct kind of sound. And as I grew up and I became my own person, I was like, I want to learn more about it, have my own rabab, listen to this more. And obviously, as the world grew and it became so global, I just got to listen to a lot more actual Pakistani bands playing it, and it became mainstream. And this particular instrument is now mainstream in my eyes, anyway. And so that was the inspiration. I thought, not many people know about this, and it's kind of a story of my own self want, let's say, of wanting to play it as a child. It's an intergenerational story about a grandfather teaching his granddaughter how to play it, which is an ode to my own father, who was very much on the creative side, or very much inspired me to bring out my creative side, always pushing me to do my acting or my playing my keyboard or my first guitar, and he was always very encouraging in that way. So I think it was a bit of a mix, just my parents and my cultural heritage, really.
Lovely. And so did you pursue learning to play the instrument? Do you play now?
Yes, I have my own above. I may not be very good at it, I must admit, because there's like 16 strings, sort of six main ones, and obviously the more better you get with it, the more of those strings you can play. But I think it was easier for me to, in the kind of Western world, to just pick up a guitar, and so I picked up the guitar, and that's what I play. Just totally self-taught in that sense. But yeah, I started playing the guitar mostly, and that's that was my kind of first foray into the musical world, really. So again, may not be very good compared to most people, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I just pick up a guitar instead of the rabab at that time.
Gotcha. So if as you
Yeah.
do school visits, though, what a great thing to be able to take your own instrument and actually be able to show it to the students
Yes,
and see and hear, what it sounds
exactly.
like and see it live and in person. I think that's always such a great thing I think this is one of the ways, putting on my teacher hat now for a second, right?
Hmm.
So I think this is one of the ways that we really can share with kids these wider musical experiences. And it's very difficult, to do field trips out, but it's much easier to bring
Yes.
authors and musicians into us. We have
Hmm.
a harpist coming to my school.
Oh, wow.
She was on PBJamz quite a few episodes back in
Hmm.
February, and she was actually inspired to play music by a picture book. And so it was kind of a flip of what we usually
Oh, look at
did.
that full circle.
Yeah, it really is. And
Oh,
so she's going to come. But again, the harp is a beautiful instrument, but it's not one that our students are typically familiar with, certainly
yes.
not in
It's
rural
quite
areas.
niche in that sense.
Right.
Yeah,
And so I think
exactly.
similarly for yours, like what a great opportunity for schools. So,
Hmm.
schools, I'm talking to you here, bring Sabrina in. If she can do a virtual visit for you, or if you're close enough that she can do an in-person
Thank you.
visit. Yeah, because this is how we share, cultural music with our kids and get them acclimated to instruments that are outside of our mainstream,
By norms, yeah.
whatever that is, right?
And
So,
that's a great opportunity I've managed to have in a couple of the readings, a couple of school
yeah,
readings and just library visits that I've had so far. When I brought out the Rabab, they're like, "Whoa, what is this?" Yeah,
yeah,
I'm just like, anybody know what this is? And 99% of the time they don't know this.
of course.
But it's different to a guitar, and but when they hear it, they can see the similarities, but they can obviously hear the differences, and they just love it. They just love to actually have a hands-on experience with it.
Yeah.
And I get the kids to come up, I get them to play the strings and just to take in how many pegs it has and how the ornate kind of pearl infrastructure it has. They're just a bit overwhelmed by how different it looks to a conventional instrument, and
Yeah.
then they love the fact that they just get to play it. So I'm very much into, here's a Barbie, play it. Like,
Right.
give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, oftentimes kids they'll gravitate to that music then once you've
Mm,
introduced them to it. I did a
mhm.
unit with my kids a few years ago on bluegrass music. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's like very very country. Um,
Okay.
a lot of banjo, if you're familiar with banjo. So there's a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
banjo and a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
fiddle. Yeah. And so,
Okay.
most of my kids had never really heard bluegrass, but then they were like, oh, bluegrass is my favorite. Like, once you introduce
Oh,
them to a new style of music, then they really do embrace it. They just haven't been exposed to it as of
and
yet.
that's the thing,
Yeah.
exposure. And
Yeah.
now, obviously, with the digital world that we live in, most of the examples, even if they just want to go and just look into it, they will go on YouTube or they'll go on these other kind of social
Exactly.
media sites and find examples of it. And I think that's why I love Barefoot for what they've done, because right at the back of the book, there's a QR code, and you can just scan the QR code and it takes you into a world of Rabab where you can
Uh,
hear examples of the sounds by various artists and bands, and so it's right
uh,
there on your in your fingertips to be like, oh, really want to know what this sounds like. Oh, let's have a look, and it would just take you straight
and then
there.
it's
So
right there.
opening
Yeah.
the doors, basically.
Yeah, it's one of the things I love about Barefoot Books is how they are very interactive and very
Mhm.
musical. And like you're saying, it's nice to know how they did that with your book. While it doesn't have a sing along, but then they included the QR code, and so you can go
Something
and
with it.
listen. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. That's fabulous.
Agree.
So we've talked a lot already then about the musical connections. Is there anything else that you would like to share about the music of the book beyond what we've talked about already?
I guess although it's it's unique in its sense because it's a traditional instrument that many people may not have come across. But essentially, and this is what I'm a deep advocate of, it's still a universal book at the end of the day. It's still a beautiful book about a young child who's learning how to find her voice, find her own sort of way in the world, especially in this musical world, and having the courage to actually try something new. So I think even though it's a musical book, it's got some very universal messages and themes, like the intergenerational connection of family, traditions, just getting together and believing in yourself and actually having the courage to continue and not give up, essentially, which I know a lot of kids nowadays and even adults to that sense is how long can you go pursuing something and not really want to give up in that sense.
Yeah.
And it's just a kind of reinforcement of just keep going, even if it's not quite right, you will find your own way. And I think that's what the main message is. You'll feel the rhythm, find your own rhythm, and that's kind of what the main, you know, overarching motto, I guess, of this Music of the Mountains book is. And I think even at the end of the book, the back matter part of it is something I really love because it really goes into the depths of what a barb is, where it comes from, even to the extent of where Ruhi, my main character, is from and what she wears, the language she speaks, and essentially the different bands that are featured at the back of the book
Oh,
because they are my inspiration in a sense. They are the bands that I listened to and continue
right.
to listen to. So it's little things like that. The story doesn't end there for me. It's kind of like, okay, you've heard Ruhi's story, you've followed her journey. How are you going to take that as a child or as an adult to pursue something that you'd want to do musically? But then here is all these other informational and resources that you can continue to look into. So yeah, I mean, only the other day I was following the band Humaria actually, and they were playing in the US on their first tour actually, and
Oh,
there was a
nice.
whole breadth of people from every single walk of life
Mm,
listening to the rabab and the music and dancing along to it. And I never thought I would see the day, to be fair. And I was like,
right.
wow, this is so amazing. Like, and it was just about 60, 70 odd people up in a circle just dancing around listening to this music, and like 100 more just watching it. It was amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look at this, it's doing its thing. The rabab is doing its thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and you
that's
get
my
to be a
motto.
part of that. I mean, that's really pretty special that you get to be a part of bringing that culture and that instrument, to an audience that maybe doesn't know as much about it. So that's just
Exactly.
Yeah, but I also love what you were saying about the layers, and that's super important. We talk about this all the time as authors in kid lit, and
Mhm.
I think it's true probably in every age and genre that, one little story is not enough to sell a book. You want it to appeal to as broad a range of people as possible. So you have your
Yeah.
intergenerational layer, you have the music layer, you have the culture layer, you have the geography layer. You have
Mhm.
all these, and then you have this back matter that brings all of this nonfiction part of this fictionalized story,
Yes.
to another level. So those layers are super important, because it reaches a wider audience. It makes it more saleable for those of us who are from the author side of things. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's super important. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you want it to be a story that you'll keep on reading at the end of the day, because those themes are not going to end right there. They're going
Right.
to resonate with a 5 or 6 year old now, and as they grow to a 7 or 8 year old, hopefully they'll read it and pass it on to their younger siblings, for example, or something
Right.
along those lines. So you want something that's going to grow with the child, but then also be completely resonant. You'll be able to resonate with it as a new generation of children as they continue to grow. So I think those themes are important. And that's kind of why I wanted it to be universal enough
Yeah.
that it isn't specifically to Pakistan. It's not specifically to my culture or anything. It's a diverse voice, of course, and it's representing, obviously, who I am and who a lot of other people in this world are. I'm a British Muslim author at the end of the day with Pakistani heritage, British as well, English as well. It's like a whole mix of things put in a
Right.
pot.
Right.
And that's who I am as an author. But to put that into a story as well, you don't want it to be just that. You want it to be universal, so it will talk to every walk of life. And kids nowadays, I want them to be sort of to look within themselves and find that bit of bravery and to find that bit of encouragement to be like, okay, I can try this, even though it might not be exactly how someone has taught me, such as Ruhi's grandfather. He plays a certain way. She couldn't get it quite right, but who's to say that isn't right? She found her own way. She finds her own rhythm. She finds her own nuances, and it's just as good as he would, if you know what I mean, as he would play.
Yeah.
So kids have to
Yeah.
find their own way in this world, and yeah, I kind of wanted it to be like you can be different and still be completely, utterly okay as well in that way.
Yeah, and I think one of the beautiful things about diverse voices that have really, we've seen a large influx of diverse voices over the last, I don't know what, 10 years in children's lit.
Yeah.
And I think one
Mm.
of the beautiful things about that is, you know, I just got back from a 3.5 week trip in Europe, right? But not everybody gets to do that. And so for kids in
Mhm.
rural America, which is where I live and breathe, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
for a lot of my kids are never going to go to Pakistan. They're never gonna, but this gives them a window. We talk about windows and sliding glass doors, per
Yes.
Regan's Bishop,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so this is a window for them into another culture. But I think what it
Mhm.
teaches us is that really at the core of it, we're all the same. Right.
Yes.
I mean, of course, we
Definitely.
all have our own cultures and our own trappings and our own stories, but the
Mhm.
humanity of us is all the same. And that bravery that you're talking about, and that the hardness of trying something new and doing something difficult, and that need for tenacity and perseverance, like those are
Yeah.
universal. And so we bring in diverse
Exactly.
voices to open the window or to allow kids to step through the sliding glass door into another culture, but the reality of it is we do that, but then we see ourselves reflected on those pages regardless of what our culture is.
Exactly what you've just said, completely, because it's whether you're it doesn't even need to be trying something musical. It could be like you're a football
Right.
player
Yeah.
or you're trying a sport for the first time. You're an artist.
Right.
Anything that child is trying to do, it's that perseverance. Like you said, it's the tenacity to be like, I'm going to give it my all. And even though I might not be successful first time, second time, third time, you just have to keep trying. And that's what childhood is essentially. And even as an adult, we continue to do that.
Yeah, it's
It's
just life. That's
every
right.
single day it's
Yeah.
trying to continue to do something. We may
Yeah.
not be successful, but it's a different ball game as you're an adult. But as a child, the smallest thing can be the most overwhelming thing or the most, disastrous thing in their little world that they live in. But it's
Right.
just to say that actually it doesn't matter, like I said, what culture you're from, what diverse voice you're speaking from, those core inner um, parts of your life that you're trying to navigate, they are going to be similar. Everyone's going to be going through similar things,
Mhm.
especially kids in that kind of school age. It's
Mhm.
test results. It's anything. So yeah, I think it was trying to tap into those through a different lens, let's say. So, and I'm
Mhm.
hoping I did that, and I'm hoping a lot of people can look into Ruhi and her culture and just be like, she's an amazing little girl from a different point of view in a different walk of life, but she's just like me because I'm trying to play the recorder over here and I can't do it, or
Right.
like trying to do a
Exactly.
tambourine or a triangle even, and I'm just really not
Yeah.
picking it up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Or
it's
like you
okay,
said,
it's fine.
sports or writing or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
There's things that we can all relate to in her journey. That's what makes it a beautiful universal story. So that's a
Yeah.
perfect segue into asking you when you think about teachers who might share this story with their students or families who might share this story with their children, what is maybe one thing that you think they might overlook that you really hope they don't overlook? What is one thing that you really hope that the adults who read this book to, the gatekeepers and the caregivers, what is one thing you really hope that they're going to pay attention to and be sure to share with the littles that they're sharing this book with?
I think when I was writing the story, and even when you kind of contemplate the aftermath of the story, once it was actually published or once it become like its final draft and that kind of thing, you do start to think, what are these secondary lives? What else is the story talking about? And Barefoot were really good at this because we've actually created classroom resources which teachers and parents and caregivers can actually work off. So they're very available online for free if any teachers or librarians and everybody wants to go and have a look at them, because there are some lovely discussion points to be brought out of that. And I think some of the things that I would want anyone to miss is, excuse me, is that perseverance, is what is it that you are trying to do in life which you're scared of, which you're nervous about, and what is your support system? I think that's what it was. At the end of the day, Ruhi is nervous and scared of trying to do this particular thing, this playing of the rabab at the school concert, without the support of her grandfather, who is her, foundation, who is her anchor. And when the anchor is taken away, for whatever reason it is, how can you find yourself in that predicament, or how can you help yourself out of that predicament, not only with your own self-belief, but who is your support system? And I think that's what, as a child, you need. Whether it is your teacher, whether it is your parent, whether it is older sibling, cousins, aunts and uncles, I think that's the one thing I would want, the parent or the caregiver who's reading my book to help understand, is that when that child is nervous for whatever reason or needs that support in doing something that they want, who can they turn to? And how can you encourage that and for them to find their voice to ask for that help? Because it's one of those things where Ruhi herself, talking through me or talking whoever the reader is, um, you can self encapsulate sometimes. You can kind of go very introverted and be like, I can do this, I can do this. But at some point, for whatever reason, if you can't do it or you just need that helping hand, who would you turn to? And I want the child to be able to openly turn to an adult that they trust and ask for that support, whatever it would be. So I think that's the one of the underlying kind of themes that I would want caregivers and teachers, librarians to be able to encourage, that kids should have a voice, that they should feel comfortable asking for help when they need it. Um, so yeah, it's one of them. And like I said, it doesn't have to be musical in that kind of sense. It could be schoolwork, it could
Of
be
course.
anything they're doing, a hobby, etc., etc. But the underlying theme is that kids shouldn't need to suffer in that nervousness alone. We're
Mm,
here for a reason. As an adult, as a parent, as anyone, we're here to look after you, to support you. So to be open with that and have those open conversations.
I love that. I love it.
Mhm.
So we've talked briefly about some of the things you've been doing in terms of school visits and things like that, but um, in this last little bit, I want to talk with you about what is coming next for you. Like, do you have more books in the pipeline? Are you available for school visits? Are there places where you're going to be, that are open to the public that people
Mhm.
might want to know about? Just
Okay.
fill us in.
So it's all been a whirlwind for me recently because a lot of life changes and everything. But I write picture books and I also write middle grade as well, and also YA. But I'm working on my middle grade at the moment, so that is out in the ether doing its thing, and I continue to
Nice.
write middle grade and chapter books. So that's all churning away in the
Yep.
background.
Yep.
No other publications yet, but with that writing side on one end, I am hoping obviously to do more with the picture book. So fingers crossed, hoping to be in the UK for the autumn. So that's one thing I would like to tap into at any point is just to reach out with my UK fans and my UK fans. I say this like I'm famous, my UK readership and my people in the UK essentially. So
Yeah.
schools, librarians. I'm gonna go home basically and really tap into my home city and obviously my home counties and the whole of England and see if I can just do my thing there with the picture book. I've just moved to the UAE as a United Arab Emirates. I can't even say it now.
Emirates.
Emirates.
Yep.
Sorry, I just say UAE, it's easier. So I'm
Yeah.
in Abu Dhabi at the moment. So that's my home now. I'm in Abu Dhabi. So I will be doing
Okay.
things here for the foreseeable future. But yeah, in terms of locality, UK and the UAE is one thing. Obviously, Pakistan is my affinity. It will always be our family home. So we'll always try and get to Pakistan as well and meet and
Yeah.
do things there regarding this picture book in particular. Other than that, I am always there to support my people, so my writer people, and it's about finding your village and finding writer friends. So I'm always there to help support, read and do critiques. So I'm always there in that service in that sense as well. But that's me really. I think I'm just chugging away, trying to sort family, sort life, and then be this writer in the middle, try and wedge it in when life isn't happening in that kind of way.
It's
So yeah,
it's
I think we're
it's
all
a
in
tough,
that kind of
yeah,
boat,
it's a
aren't we?
tough balance for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
exactly.
Yeah, well, that's fabulous. So Sabrina has lots going on, obviously. So for my friends across the pond, as we say, then I hope that you will be on the lookout for events and
Uh,
activities where you can, connect with her and for the readership and viewership here in the US. I'm going to link up all of her information down below so you can check out her website and purchase her book. I'll have all that linked up below. And I'll also link up Sabrina that barefoot teaching guide. I'll include a link to that as well in
sure,
this
that'd be perfect.
episode. And then I'll
Yeah,
be adding also lots of teaching tips that strike me as things that you can include in the classroom, or if you're a family or even a daycare or preschool sharing this book. I'll have lots of ideas, a YouTube playlist, a Pinterest board, and all of that will be available to you. So we kind of create our own little teacher's guide here. So please make use of that, and as well as the barefoot teaching guide that I will link up, and connect with Sabrina in all the ways. Follow her on socials. We talk a lot about how you can support authors, and obviously buying her book is one of the greatest ways. But also, not everybody has the pocketbook for that. So, sharing out by word of mouth, checking the book out from the library, doing a library
yeah.
request or a bookstore request. If you have a local bookstore, can you please carry this book? Those are great ways. Reviews, reviews, reviews. Those are fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, so Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Goodreads, anywhere else that gives you the opportunity. If you read the book and you love it, and I think you will, it's just a lovely, beautiful book. Then
thank you so much.
yeah, share out that review. It doesn't have to be long. Just, give it the 5 stars that it deserves, and then tell why you loved it.
Thank you.
And
It's just a thumbs up will be great.
yeah, just a
Yeah.
sentence or two. I think they require like 25 words on Amazon or something. So 25 words about why you like the book. That's it. That's all you got to do. But it really helps authors move up in the algorithm, and it helps other people that
It
are
does.
considering the book know if it's a
Yeah.
good fit for them. So, um,
Yes, exactly. That's all I can hope for, really, just to get the books into the hands of the kids and anyone who's able to pass it on in that kind of sense. So it's a lovely gift book as well. A lot of people have actually said it's really lovely to gift
yeah,
because it's not something that they've seen very often, and that, like I said, the illustrations are absolutely amazing. So, and there's a lovely refrain, like there's a whole clap de clap clap thing going on, and it's just a lovely kind of read out loud. So it's great for little play groups and things like that as well. So
yeah,
yeah, I just
so
hope
many good
anyone
things.
who's able to read it can read it.
Yes, and then share it with the littles in your life and the bigs. You know, I'm a big proponent for picture books are for everybody, not just little kids. And so I think
Yeah,
this book is a great example. Like, even though, okay, it's a picture book, it's written for kids, but if you're an adult who doesn't know about this instrument or this culture, you know, these are great ways to be little windows for us as well. When we share them with the little people in our lives, or if we just read them for
of
fun.
course.
You know, my husband,
Yeah.
whenever we go to the bookstore, we always have to have read aloud time. And so every time we go, I perform a picture book for him, you know, one that we haven't read yet. And so, yeah, he has to sit and listen to me do read aloud. He's a good
I'm
sport.
dragging mine to the bookstore
Yeah,
later, to be fair. Like, that's a new bookstore. I haven't been there. You're coming with
you
me.
gotta go.
So,
Come on.
no.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a good sport. He'll listen to me read and do all the
Brilliant.
pieces and all the things. Yeah. So it's
Mine's had to
perfect.
listen to mine practice on the Rabab for the last like 6 months. So I'm just
Right?
like, you sit and listen. You
There
tell
you
me if this is
go.
good or not.
That's right. That's right. Well,
Yeah,
speaking of that support group, like they're our support group, right? We all have to have that
of
support. So,
course. And
yeah,
each other as well. So that's the biggest thing we can do in this world is support each other in one
it
way or another. So
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I want to thank you again for supporting me and doing this. So thank you so much for the opportunity to talk
Oh,
about my book and just all the wonderful things that you do as well on the side. So I can't wait to see it all, to be fair. I'm going to
oh,
log in as soon as it's all up, and
yes.
I'll do my bit as well and share it with all my people also.
That
So
sounds
thank you.
great. Yes, thank you for being here, Sabrina. It's been so fun to get a chance to actually talk
Yeah.
live and in person with each other. So this has been a fun.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed when at some point when book two comes along, then let's see, let's do it again.
Yes, let's do. Absolutely.
Cool
Absolutely.
stuff.
Well, that's going to be an end of this episode for us, but thank you so much for joining Sabrina and me as we talk about
Thank
this
you.
lovely book. And please do check it out, give it all the love. And I hope that you will join us next time for the next episode of PB Jams. Till
Lovely.
then, see you
Thank
later.
you.
Jamming PBs all the time. PB Jams. Songish books and bookish songs. Tips for music teachers. Interviews and book reviews. A little singing and dancing. PB Jams. Yummy books and music. PB Jams. Reading, writing, teaching. PB Jams. What a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz. Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. We'll see you next time for PB